Hello and welcome to another video from trainingrite.com. This time we'll be talking about how we can be using a shared object repository in QTP. What's the need of a shared object repository, and how we could create one and how we could associate one with a test. Well, to get started, we'll open our QTP, and I'm going to be going to a site called Travelocity.com, and just to have a scenario of why we are using that shared object repository, I will be creating two actions. The first action is we're going to be searching for an airline ticket, and the next action is we'll be searching for a hotel. So I'll be creating two shared object repository just to give you a demo of how we could use it. So my first action is going to be for search airline, right? And say yes to that. And we'll just go ahead and insert another action, call to new action. And this time this is going to be search hotel. All right. Okay. Now, this test is for my Travelocity.com. So I'm just going to save it as demo for Travelocity is the application, and this is for shared object repository. All right. Okay. Now, let me bring up the application. So I'm gonna just open up to Travelocity.com, and I will try and add some objects in here from my application into my shared object repository. Okay. We're going to keep it simple. So what I will be doing is I'll be adding a couple of objects. The objects which I'll be adding is, let's say we want to know from, and we want to know to, and I want to know the, let's say I'll go with the flexible dates for now. And so I'm going to add that flexible dates, and then I will go ahead and then I'm going to add this, right? That's what I'm going to do. So to create a shared object repository, I have to go into resources. So here is my resources, and here is my object repository manager. If I want to create a local object repository, I would have clicked on object repository, but since I'm creating a shared object repository, which multiple tests could be using, so we will create one by going in there. And over here, the way you could distinguish this from a local repository is a shared object repository interface here gives you the ability to save, stuff like that. This portion would not be available in the regular local object repository, because you could save this, right? Okay, so now let us go ahead and then add some of the objects. So I'm gonna click on add objects. This is no longer add to local, so add objects. It's going to bring up my application. If it doesn't, so I'm gonna quickly go and bring it up. And here I want to capture that, so I would do that. And as you can see here, the web editor had been captured, so I hit OK. Okay, there. All my PC seems to be frozen here. My QTP seems to be frozen a little bit, so I'm going to give it a second for it to accept that. And while it does that, I'm just going to go and there it is. Okay, so we have captured that. Now let us go and then capture one more. But before I do that, I will just minimize my the other one. This I'm going to minimize because that's interfering in my capturing of the object. So here is my local object, and I'm going to not local object, but adding that object to the shared object repository, and that's the another one. Okay, then I'm going to go and then click on that one more time, and this time we are capturing for the flexible dates. All right, so that's that. And finally, I'm going to do this, which is going down here and clicking on that. All right. Okay. So far, so good. I have captured those four objects. QTP is behaving a little slow here today, but hopefully it'll finish that operation. Okay, so after I add these four objects, I could go ahead and then save my object repository, and then I'm going to be showing you as how to associate this object repository with any action or with any test. Now, the difference between a local object repository and a shared object repository is a shared object repository can be shared by multiple QTP tests, right? And it would also be shared between multiple software testers. So if you have an object repository that you create as a part of your recording of a test, that object repository is local to a particular QTP test. By creating a shared object repository, as the name goes, the application is going to be shared, or rather, the object repository is going to be shared between multiple tests and between multiple software testers. Okay, so far so good. We got all those four here. Okay, now I'm going to close that. This is going to come back and say the object repository has been changed. Do you want to save the unlocking and closing of the file? Now, I'm just going to cancel out because I'm going to show you as how you should be saving it. So you go to File and you say Save As, and when you do a Save As, it is going to bring you to a folder. This is my QTP folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder here, call that Travelocity demo and SOR. Okay, now in there I am going to create this as this is for the airline, right? So Travelocity TR and airline SOR. All right, right now we have captured about like 5 objects. Down the road we'll be capturing more objects, right? So this shared object repository is going to grow, right? Okay. All right. So here's our search hotel. So I could go ahead and then create one for search hotel, but that will be almost identical to what I have just I just did for the airline. So now how are we going to associate that? First of all, I'm going to quickly write some code to open that browser when we run the test. So I have a system util dot run, and I'm going to be opening my iExplore.exe, and the second argument here is the URL of the application under test, which is going to be travelocity.com. Okay. Next thing is, in case of our recorded, or if I have a local object repository, once I do this, it is going to quickly go and open that local object repository and then show me what browser I have. Now notice that right now it is not doing that. Now you might wonder why it is not doing, because there's no object repository for this search. We are in the search hotel. Even if I take this code and go into search airline and then do that, I still don't have any object repository here. I mean, if I go and open the object repository here, notice that there is nothing in here. Now you might wonder, like, we just saved some of the objects into the object repository. How come it's not showing? Now, the reason it's not shown is because I'm looking at a local object repository, right? And the one which we shared was in a, or the one which we created was in a shared object repository. So how can you associate? How can you associate a shared object repository to a test or to an action in a test? Well, for that, again, we got to go into something called resources and go into object repository manager. And in the object repository manager, what I have to do here is no, not object repository manager. I have to go to resources and associate the repositories. And in the associate repositories, what you do is, notice this area. This area is blank right now. So this dialog box lists the object repository files associated with all the actions in the current test. So right now it is empty. So let's go and then get that. So I'm going to click on that plus. It'll open up. It'll open up to that path where we have created this. So if I just go one level up, you will notice that here is my Travelocity airline SOR. So I'm going to take that. Once I take it, it shows over here, and then it shows like which action from this QTP test, which actions do you want to associate to that. Now this I created for the airline, so I should go ahead and then do the airline and do that and hit OK. So now this airline is associated with that shared object repository. If I go and do browser and do that, there it is. It is showing me that. So if I do that and then do a page, now the information is coming again from that object repository. And what was the first one? I think it was a web edit. So we have two web edits, going to and leaving from. So I'm going to select going to, or was that leaving from, the first one? If I go back and look into my application, it's going to tell me from my application. Okay, from and to. So from is like probably okay. So this is going to is the next one. So I have to take leaving from dot set, and let me put some airport code. Let's say JFK. We're leaving from JFK, and again, I'm going to be doing the same thing here. Browser, page, and after I do the page, I will do a web edit, and this time it is going to, and I am going to, let's say, where do I want to go? I want to go to MCO. MCO is the code for Orlando in Florida. So let's say I want to go there, right? Now, I could, from the application perspective, notice that I'm writing code. From the application perspective, we have to go here and we have to do what? We have to select either that, right? Or I have to select the dates here, but I have not captured anything about that, right? I've not captured anything about that. I did capture that. Now, so I could select the flexible dates and then I could click on the button, or I could just click on the button and see if the QTP is at least doing this. So QTP might come back and tell me that I can't show you anything right now because you have not selected any of these options. That's fine. Let's take a look if my process of creating a shared object repository and attaching or associating that shared object repository is working or not. So let me just jump in here and then do what? Go ahead and then say browser, same browser, and page, same page. And this time it is going to be web button, and the web button is search now, and I'm just gonna go and click on that. All right. Okay. If everything is all right, this should work, right? Work in the sense that it should at least put JFK in there, put MCO, and then click on that. It might not give me the results because I have not given it any dates or not selected anything, but that's fine. We just want to see that this thing works. So I'm going to put some weights here. So there's a weight of 5. The reason I'm putting a weight of 5 is so that we could see that it did enter these values, which is MCO and JFK, and then it is clicking on that. Okay, so we're gonna right now there's nothing in the hotel. If you see, I have nothing in the hotel, which I could come back and then finish up the hotel. But let me just quickly go and then test this and then see if I could, if this is going to open or not. Okay, for that, either I could go ahead and then close my existing browser, or since I'm opening it up from here, that's going to be fine. Okay, here we go. Click on run. This is going to open up the browser for Travelocity. Keep your eye here on the from and to part. It should be putting a value momentarily over there. That's because the other browser was open. So, okay, it had put JFK, it had put MCO, and now hopefully it is going to go and then click on that. Okay, so as we were expecting, it is giving us an error. They're saying that you entered your entered date is invalid. Please enter or select a different. But it did complete the process of entering JFK and MCO and all that. Well, so that basically concludes our video where I have shown you as how to create a shared object repository, and what was the purpose of the shared object repository. How do you create one, and how do you associate one with a test or with an action within a test. If you like what you're seeing here, then we invite you to visit our site, www.trainingrite.com. We have a bunch of courses which we offer through our site. These are all online courses for different things, like we do cover QTP, we do Selenium training, and if you look into the course catalog, it shows you that we also cover business analysts, Selenium training, SharePoint training, SOAP UI web service training. And if you want to find out some more details of when we are starting these courses and whatnot, then you could be going and clicking on the class dates. Well, thank you again for being here and watching this video. We appreciate your time, and we will be looking forward to seeing you in one of the classes from trainingrite.com. Thank